Hey friends, and welcome back to Stronger Every Day. So today I wanted to talk about, I recently did a video about kind of a year into this journey of recovering from depression and anxiety. I don't know if recovering is the right word. Do I still struggle with it? Yes. But the fact that it's gotten better, right? So I wanted to talk about the successes and failures of the things that I've talked about that have helped me, and how the ones that aren't a success at the moment, how I'm kind of changing those. So we've talked in detail about prayer, spending time with the Lord, about eating, changing your eating habits, cutting out sugars, cutting out junk as much as you can. We've talked about exercise. We've talked about studying God's word. We've talked about the fact, reaching out to talk to someone, whatever that someone is. We've talked in detail about talking to God, right? Just speaking to Him and pouring our heart out to Him. We've talked about doing anything that brings you joy, whether that's a physical activity, whether it's a television show or a candle or a smell, or going for a ride, going to a sporting event, going to a movie, going out to dinner with friends, whatever that looks like, something that brings you joy. We've talked about priorities and getting your priorities straight to where you take things off your plate that you don't need, that aren't helping your situation, and maybe you add some others, or maybe you just take some things off and rearrange, getting your priorities straight. We've also talked about stopping, changing, or challenging our thought process, and those are all huge. We've talked about medications and how that has worked. So for me, some of the best things and the things that I've stuck to the hardest are prayer, talking to God, and studying my Bible. Now, I have, there's days that I don't study my Bible. That's something that I am reworking on, right? I talk to God every day. I pray to God every day, but there's days that sometimes the studying the Bible has fallen off, and the main reason for that is we've done a lot on our homestead, and we've spent hours of blood, sweat, and tears literally building things and rearranging things and moving fencing and doing this and doing that in a garden, and there's never seems to be enough time in the day. I'm always sore, I'm always tired, I'm always sweaty, I'm always hot, and my thought process was, well, I'll study tonight, right? Well, tonight would come and I was exhausted. And what I've noticed that's happened there is a lot of times we say, well, I don't really have time for it now, so let me push it off. Here's the thing. Make the time, right? Even if it's listening to something in the car on the way to and from work. When you start your day off with God, whatever you got to get to later in that day, He's going to bless it. Not saying that if you don't, He's not going to bless it. It's just different. And if you understand what I'm saying, then you understand. When you start your day off, your attitude is just different. Your mental space is just different. Your level of tolerance is better. Things that, when you're out trying to do something and it goes wrong, your attitude kind of just sparks right then. Where I have noticed personally that when I take the time to spend that time with God, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours, whatever that looks like, I'm not here to debate that, of how much time you need to spend with God. I don't think God has a checklist up in heaven saying, okay, Chrissy only studied my word today for 5 minutes. Today Chrissy studied my word. Siri's popping up. Today she only studied my word for 3 hours. Today she, I don't think God's up there doing that. Studying the Bible is not for God. It's for us to learn God and learn the Bible. God already knows the Bible. That's been a big one. Watching what I have been eating. during the middle of all this, we have eaten, I'm not anti-fast food, so please don't take that as that. Take this as that. What I'm saying is, for me, I can feel a difference mentally and physically when I eat out, whether it be fast food or restaurant, whatever it is. When it's not home cooked from my kitchen, I can feel a difference because of the additives and preservatives in that food. It affects my body differently. It might not bother yours at all, and I'm happy for you. It does affect me, and it does, you know, even Nick's noticed it since we've been eating more at home, and then we'll go out and he'll be like, you know, my elbow's hurting, I'm sore, you know, just the different things. And so the big thing for me was stopping sugar. Now, have I stopped all sugar? No, I still cook and bake with sugar. But I'm talking about, and there has been an occasional, probably 5 times over the past year, where I've eaten something that was just ooey gooey delicious, you know, and I've paid for said ooey gooey deliciousness. But I'm not saying just to stop it altogether, right? I'm saying do things in moderation. For me, stopping the sugar has helped a lot. We have been working outside a ton, just trying to get some infrastructure on the homestead done. And because we've been outside so much, it's hot here in Tennessee, like hot. And then the heat index. And so we were chugging water, and then on top of that, liquid IV, which I do like. It does help replenish you. But I had noticed part of it is from my joints swelling from being so hot. I mean, we're talking about spending hours outside. Like this, a couple weekends ago, we finished our chicken coop and run, and we were outside between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We spent 20 hours to 24 hours outside in the heat, and my joints were swollen. I couldn't get my rings on. I actually bought some of those silicone rings so that I could wear those when I'm outside. Couldn't get my rings on. My hands are still pretty swollen. Rolling myself in arthritis medicine on my knees, my ankles, my hips, my back, my neck, my hands, my elbows, literally every part of me. And then laying on a heating pad with some Tylenol at night, which I've said this before, we're blessed to be able to have that. We're blessed we have electricity to be able to plug in a heating pad. We're blessed we have the money to buy Tylenol and arthritis cream. So I'm not whining about that. I'm just telling you kind of, you know, what we've been going through. But the liquid IV has some sugar in it. And I remember one day in particular, we were painting, and I think I drank like 5 of those. And I remember that evening I was just so sore, and I attributed it to the fact that we had been out in the heat all day and my joints were swelling. And Nick brought that up. You know, it does have some sugar in it, and you drink a lot of them. And so that kind of registered to me. So now, you know, I'll drink one and then drink straight water. But just different things that have helped. I have not talked to a therapist since December, probably January, December. And I've felt pretty good without that. I talk to you guys, and so that's kind of my therapy. I'm more vulnerable and honest with y'all than I've ever been with any therapist I've ever talked to. I don't know why. It's just easier for me to talk to you all. I tell you more in depth than I've ever told a therapist or a counselor. So that has helped a lot, changing my priorities. Nick and I have talked a lot about what's important to us. Where do our priorities lie, right? Because we have a lot of irons in the fire. In particular, I mean, both of us do, but in particular, like right now. So we both we volunteer for an organization in our county, and he has been doing an online class and a in-person class for a particular specialty within that organization that we volunteer for. He's also been doing a class for that said organization for to get his pilot's license to fly a drone. He's also, let's see, it's those 2 classes. It seems like there's another one that he's been taking. And so then add all the regular, you know, things that we have to get done in a day and working full time and all of that. We have had to really kind of talk about where our priorities are, right? You can't do everything for everyone all the time, and it's been kind of eye-opening because we are very much people that like to help. We always want to be there for people. We never want to not be available, but it's run us ragged, right? It's drained every ounce of energy, because ultimately once that task is done, when we get home, we still have all the things that have to happen to make our house run. And when you're trying to add a bunch of infrastructure excuse me, when you're trying to add a bunch of infrastructure, it's exhausting. And so we've really had to talk about where our priorities are, and that's one thing we're still currently working on, is trying to figure out basically that there's sometimes you're gonna have to say no, right? And neither one of us like that. We always want to be someone that people can call and say, hey, can you do this? Can you help? And the answer, we always want to be yes. Every time we get called out on a call, we always want to be the ones that are there, but we've had to kind of figure out priorities, right? And that's very much something that we're still working on. Exercise is another one. I still, to this day, do not have an exercise routine. That does not mean I sit in the house eating bonbons and watching soap operas, right? We have 13 acres, and I would say, well, it takes about 2 hours to mow, and we don't mow, a lot of it we get, they cut hay for, but around our property we mow. And so that takes about 2 hours. We have 5 goats, we have 17 chickens, we have 7 dogs, and 3 cats. So all of these babies need attention. All of them need fresh water, fresh food. All of them need supplies that have to be bought, cooking meals. I made, a couple days ago, I made homemade lasagna with homemade tomato sauce and homemade bread, and then turned it into homemade garlic bread. And I remember Nick came home and he was like, you've had to, you know, be busy today, because it takes a minute to make your own tomato sauce. And I didn't have enough tomatoes from the garden to can, but I had 6 pounds of tomatoes to make the tomato sauce I needed for the lasagna. So, you know, all the things that have to happen on this homestead have to get done a lot of the time when Nick is out of the house. And so, you know, my responsibilities and his responsibilities are similar but different. We have a lot of things that we're in charge of, but we also, there's not like a, you know, well, that's more of a man task, and that's more of the woman task. It's a task, get it done. So working on that, doing things that we enjoy. We still struggle with that, right? We're talking about this coming Saturday, that it'll be our first Saturday off, and I don't know how long. And that we wanted to find something that we could do to just enjoy having a good time and having a day off. Our big projects are done, and we got a gate for the front porch, a gate for the back porch. We got the chicken coop and chicken run built. We got the fencing repaired. There's been a lot of things that we've had on our plates to try to get done. Decking boards, just tons of stuff. All of that is taken care of. And so giving ourselves a day to find something we enjoy, and we're both kind of like, I don't know what, you know, because it's so, there's so much that has to be done, right? Whether you have a farm, more of a farm lifestyle or an apartment lifestyle, there's things that have to be done within that structure and outside of that structure to make it function. And so still trying to learn that one, right? Like, what do we do for fun? Comment below, like, what do you guys do for fun? Not what do you want to do for fun, not that, but what do you actually do for fun? I'm curious because it seems like Nick and I struggle on that one. There's things we enjoy, right? We used to play golf. When I say we played golf, I played like the first 2 holes and then I just drove the golf cart. Like, that's fun for me. But we haven't even done that in probably 2 or 3 years. We've not played golf. We aren't huge movie goers. We just aren't. We like to go for rides in the car. We like to go, we enjoy camping. When I say that, I've only been camping once in my life. That was with Nick 2 years ago when a bunch of our friends went, and we haven't went back since, but we're all talking about doing that again, and so that would be something I would be really excited for. Just, I don't know, there's not, I mean, you know, I don't know, I guess, I don't know. What do you guys do for fun? I'm just curious. Not what you want to do, not like what you think would be fun. What do you actually do for fun? And so a lot of things have helped, and then there's some things that we're still actively working on. I would like to get into an exercise routine. Now, every day for the past probably 6 weeks, I have been, and I mean every day, drenched in sweat from different projects that we've been doing. It's hot, like hot here in Tennessee. It's into the 90s, and then there's a lot of, if you don't know about Tennessee, it's not necessarily that it's 90 degrees, it's the humidity that comes with it, right? When we were in Arizona, when I was in college, we had tennis championships in Arizona, and it was 100 degrees or more in Arizona, but it was a dry heat. Now, was it hot? Yes, but it was a dry heat. And when we would fly back to Tennessee, it would just smother you in the humidity when you got back. But so it's not just that it's in the 90s, it's the humidity of it all. We have zero shade anywhere. We have a air advisory in the area, and it's really got me today. But so just a lot of things that have helped, a lot of things that we're still in the process of working on, or that I'm still in the process of working on. So has it all been has it all worked 100%? No. Sometimes I'm way better at one thing and not so great. I said in a couple videos ago, the diet drinks have kind of started creeping back in, and less water. When I say less and less water, I mean like when I'm sitting in the house. Obviously when we're outside, we're drinking quite a bit of water, because you're just sweaty. I mean, it's like you jumped in a pool of sweat, or in a pool, that's how sweaty you are. So, but I mean like exercise, like either going for a hike, getting on the treadmill, doing different things. I had to be very kind of careful on some of that. We've talked in previous videos about my health issues where my heart rate stays low anyway. It's usually in the 50s, and I usually have lower blood pressure. But for whatever reason, sometimes if I'm standing for 10-20 minutes, my heart rate will plummet and my blood pressure will skyrocket, or vice versa, my heart rate will skyrocket and my blood pressure will plummet. So sometimes going hiking, we have to keep in mind that, you know, I might have to take more breaks than Nick would. Not that I can't do it, but it's different than what it looks like for him. So, you know, getting on the treadmill and walking, you know, outside around the property, just, you know, doing things that are more cardio than manual labor type exercise, I guess is what I'm talking about. So there's things that we're still working on. There's things that that I can improve on. There's things that I feel pretty tickled that I've been able to do as well as I have so far, right? God's kind of led me through that. That's not Chrissy, that's God saying, I'm going to help you, you know, help you through this. So I hope this helps, just to kind of give you a real life, this is what's working for me. Is this whole thing going to work for you? Maybe 2 or 3 will work. Maybe all of them will work. Maybe none of them will work, but trust me, it's worth trying. For me to sit here and say, the noises you hear when I'm at home working with the babies. So just different things, right? It's not a one and done for everyone. Everyone's a little bit different. So we're gonna end this video here, guys. I hope this helps. Just understand that things are gonna happen. You're just gonna work straight through it and keep moving forward. That's my biggest thing, keep moving forward. I end every video this way, and my hope is that you feel this. God loves you. I love you. Your family loves you. Your friends love you, and we need you here. We'll see you in the next one, friends. Bye.